Welcome to the Ska History Hour with your host, Daryl Rubio, wherein the purpose of this channel is to spread awareness of ska music and its subgenres to the world. Our guest today is one of the pioneers of the LA ska and reggae scene, Mr. Eric Kohler. Eric, thank you so much for being on. Been excited for this interview with you for some time now. Glad we got you on, and we appreciate the time that you're taking to share your music, your stories, and everything with the ska community.
Daryl, thank you for having me. I
Yes.
really appreciate that. And I want to thank you for doing your podcast. As a fellow podcaster, I do know how much work and effort goes into it. So kudos to you. And I want to give a plug. You were part of our History of LA Ska 2022 Year in Review, episode 51, with our mutual good friends Bubba and Jackie Mendez.
Mhm.
So thank you for doing that one. And
Yeah.
thank you for all your many years of service as well.
Thank you. I only strive to be as good as you. You are
Uh,
someone that I look
uh,
up to, so I appreciate you.
well, it's mutual, buddy.
So let's talk about some of the passions that you have. Your passions and endeavors include the Reggae Nucleus magazine, the History of LA Ska podcast, the Ska Mania events that you throw throughout Southern California, the Grammy Museum panels that you have over at the Grammy Museum in Los Angeles, right outside the, what's it called, Crypto now?
LA Live and Crypto.com Arena.
Okay,
Yep.
got
Yep.
it. And your most recent endeavor, the Havana-Kingston Connection radio show that you have on KLON. So let's go with how you and I actually met. I'm not
Yes.
sure if you remember, but in 1996,
Correct.
I went to the with Luis Correa from Steady Beat to the Bob
Yes.
Marley Day Festival over at the Long Beach Arena.
Right.
That's where he introduced me to you.
I do. I do
Um,
remember.
yeah, but I don't remember who was playing that time because there's so many bands, and every time I went into the uh, the main hall there, it was like
Yeah.
a big cloud of smoke. So,
Yes, there was. Yeah, that was, I mean, the Bob Marley Day Festival, which then became the Ragamuffins Fest, was such a staple to our scene. I mean,
Mhm,
I think about all the incredible, mostly reggae, but there were some over the years, some rock steady, some ska, other dance hall type of artists that played there, and
mhm.
that was so crucial to introducing so much of that music to me. So it was the reggae Sunsplash, and since you mentioned Lewis's name, I mean, Steady Beat. If it wasn't for seeing those Steady Beat shows, probably as early as 94, 93, 94 for me. Who knows what would what course my passions would have taken. But that was, the bands that Steady Beat promoted
Mhm.
were obviously crucial to the scene. Oh, look who's joining us.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that guy.
Hey,
What's up,
what's up,
Mikey?
Eric?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well, doing well. Daryl
Yeah,
and I
sorry.
we
Yeah.
were just rapping.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
sorry I'm late, man.
it's
No,
all
you're
right.
good.
We are live on the interview right now, Mikey, just to let you know.
Okay,
So
okay.
we do have a special co-host, Mikey, today from that same old show out of Hawaii. Mikey, thank you for joining us.
Yep, sorry.
Um,
No, sorry I'm late. Glad to
it's
be
all
here.
it's all right.
And
We just
and Daryl, if I may, just because
yes.
I want to pay the same respect for Mikey. Mikey was a guest on our History of LA Ska podcast
Yes.
in January of this year as we celebrated and did the year in review for 2025 alongside Nancy Ortega and Jer. So
Yeah.
that one is also to be listened to. All
Thank you.
right, sorry,
Yes.
back to you.
Awesome. What we're talking about right now is, I guess we're talking about how Eric got into some of the ska. Like we were just talking about the Luis and Steady Beat and some of the ska shows that he did that Eric was introduced to. Eric, it's the same thing with me. Like I met Luis in '95. He promoted my generic ska CD release
Yeah.
party at the what the hell was that place called?
Was it
Um,
Teresa Hamay?
No, that was some other we that was like the next years we did stuff. But
Okay.
that was at I forgot what it was. It was where he booked Dick Dale and Sublime and God, I forgot what the heck it was called.
Not Las Palmas Theater.
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Las
okay.
Palmas.
Yes, yes, yes,
It was
yes.
Las Palmas. That's where he threw the show. That's where I met him. That's where I started
Okay.
working and learned everything that I kind of know from him. So
Yeah.
kudos to Luis Correa from
Yeah,
Steady.
for sure, for sure. Right,
Yeah.
because I had myself and a high school friend of mine, Ireno Rodriguez. He and I started Reggae Nucleus magazine in '94. And so we had that at the time as we were then introduced around that same time to the Steady Beat shows.
Right.
Um, but the magazine really came out of we were it was kind of self-serving in the sense that Irene and I wanted to go see concerts, clubs, festivals that supported reggae and ska. We wanted to go to Jamaican restaurants. We wanted to listen to reggae specialty shows. We wanted to go, record stores and buy some different types of clothes. And there was not a place where we can go to. Obviously, this was pre-internet. There was not a place where we can go to. So we said, you know what, the LA Weekly has all these listings in the back. Why don't we do a specialty version of that? And that's where it came from. And we did that for 9 years, and it was incredible. Really, the most important part of that was just obviously the people that we met and how important we realized the community, was as we would go and drop off. And that's how I met Junior Francis, who through that same scene and at Culture Beat Records we met as we were
Mhm.
dropping off copies of the magazine.
That was Courtney
Courtney, yeah,
Courtney
Courtney Miners,
Close? No, Courtney God, I forgot his last name.
Courtney Miners.
Yes, Courtney Miners. That's
Yeah.
right. He ran that shop.
Yeah, and he actually gave Ireno and I advice early on about the magazine when he before he moved to LA when he was just in Long Beach, and he gave us some good advice and introduced us to certain people. And and through the magazine too, we were able to we did the program guide for the Bob Marley Day Festival that you mentioned, Daryl.
Mhm.
We did the program. We worked with Warren Smith and did the program for Sierra Nevada World Music Festival for a few years.
Nice.
Um, we got to interview. I mean, I remember interviewing Shaggy at Virgin Records. Um, got to interview Culture and Toots and Desmond Decker and just some incredible acts. It was truly an amazing time.
Right. What an honor with those legends. And then we will get into some of the legends that you've actually booked and had a lot of time spent with them. So let's touch on based on Reggae Nucleus that you started. Uh,
Yeah,
so of course you did interview lots of living reggae and ska legends, wrote them about them in your magazine as well. How did that whole thing come about? I mean, you just mentioned briefly about how that came about,
yeah.
but is that something like you had a vision of doing something like that? Is that something that you were
You
striving
know,
for, or is
no,
that something?
I mean, it literally was a result of us wanting kind of a one-stop shop to find all this. I had no idea, and I don't think Ireno had any idea that, by the time we folded in mid '03, that it would become, a color, I don't know, 30 something pages as it started just with 11 by 17 folded over with an insert.
Mhm.
Um, but, then as it started to grow over the years, we started getting contributing writers, Russell Gerlach and Rude Girl and Ernesto helped with the layout sometimes, and Bob Salzman as with photography, and just I mean it
Mhm.
truly became a group effort, and everyone donated their time. And Roger Steffens sometimes wrote
Mhm.
wrote for the magazine. And it was really an amazing time. And we also started through that. Irene and I had a promotions and live event company called Conscious Vibes Productions, and that's where we through the magazine and through Conscious Vibes started. We booked some local bands at like the Long Beach Fest and Chili Cook Off. Some of the bands that we met through the steady beat scene, so to speak. So we started booking that and doing some other shows. We had Cafe Vibes in Downey at the Rumpus Room. I
Mhm.
remember just around the same time the magazine launched, and we booked My Superhero early on, and I Soul Jazz, and
Oh yeah.
uh, a few of the local bands. So that's kind of where we cut our teeth in some promoting too.
Well, that's good. And I know you did mention some of the obstacles and adversities you had about having to contact these bands because this was all before cell phones. Email, I guess, barely just came into fruition.
Yeah.
So how was it that you were able to contact these bands? Is it through connections that you had?
Yeah, I would say word of mouth connections through Lewis from Steady Beat, or if it was Courtney from Culture Beat, uh, Junior, Russell Gerlach. I mean, there were a few people from the scene that would give us some contacts.
Mhm.
You mentioned the challenges. To be honest, the biggest challenge with the magazine, which is not going to be surprising to anyone, is trying to collect money from advertisers. Our cadence was every quarter. Maybe initially it was once a month, then it became every quarter. And to collect money for a little a little ad the size of a business card, right? I mean, I don't forget what we charge, but you know it would almost cost as much in gas, right, to go pick up that money from a shop owner. But we also got ads from like Bucket for Moonska,
Mhm.
and different promoters, Golden Voice and Moss Jacobs, and um, you know, Steady Beat, and Tazy Phillips, and there were a number of great advertisers, and those are the ones that really helped keep it afloat.
Right. Yeah, a lot of good names you got there, man.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing time back then. I know it's a little different nowadays, but some things are easier, some things are harder, unfortunately.
It's true. Yes, and in retrospect, we should have taken it online in mid '03. Um, we didn't. I got busier with my day job, and it just was one of those things.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever thought of maybe starting to back up again, or you just got too many projects going on right now?
You know what? History of LA Ska is kind of the natural progression, so to speak. So that's I can't I can't take on any more of passion projects.
Right. So let's talk about a little bout history of LA ska. I believe Junior Francis started this, as you mentioned earlier, actually at the Grammy Museum panel in 2017. Um, Now, since you guys did these interviews with all of these bands from around the LA area, how did this translate into doing the podcast? Was it you
Yeah.
because you joined with Junior what a little time thereafter?
So Junior moderated the discussion at the Grand Museum, as you mentioned, in fall of 17. And that was actually the second ska event that we were a part of. The first one there, Brad Klein, aka General Moses, who did the Legends of Ska documentary, we helped put together um, him to screen the film, as well as do a little panel discussion back in 2014. So fast forward a few years, we did this one, which we just called the History of LA Ska panel discussion, and that was in 2017. Joey Altruda, Luis from Steady Beat, Brian Dixon, Greg Lee, um, Brian Dixon. Sorry, I said Brian
Yeah.
Dixon. Joey Altruda. Who am I missing? I think those are Queen P, Persephone.
Oh,
Um, and then we did another one 2 years later, also at the Grand Museum, and then COVID happened. And to your point, Daryl, during COVID, Junior and I were sitting around, and I said, we have all this content from the magazine days, photos and flyers and posters and all that kind of stuff. And I had videos over the years. And then, so we said, why don't we start a Instagram channel for, History of LA Sky. And at the same time, let's do interviews. And so we called it the one-on-one sessions. And at first, for the first maybe year, we did it on IGTV, and we realized I Junior would host it, and I would kind of curate it and write the questions, but we realized a live IGTV thing has a lot of challenges, And so we then moved it to YouTube where we would film like this on Zoom. And so we launched that actually just six years ago.
Hmm.
Uh, Now, exactly, pretty much. So we started the interview series basically then, and had it, and still having a really solid run, and Junior and I collaborate on that, and have booked from the legends to modern day talent, and
Hmm.
and those behind the scenes, and just continue to do that as we still coming out of COVID did a few more of the Grammy Museum events as well, which are always just incredible to
Hmm.
work on. They're really collaborative there and really open to these types of out of the box types of events there. The first one we did at the Grand Museum coming out of COVID was the On Club and the birth. Sorry, it was On Club and the birth of the LA ska boom, and that was in partnership with Mark Wasserman,
Hmm.
the musician and writer, and then Howard Parr, who curated the On Club back in the day. So we did that one in 2021, and that actually had a reunited Box Boys, which was LA's first ska band. They performed for the first time, I think, in 40 years, and then the Untouchables played. And then we've since done another three panels there. Most recently was last fall, which was an all women panel discussion, which was a lot of fun. And
I
uh,
remember that.
yeah, yeah. So we'll definitely continue to do discussions there. I don't know if we'll see one anytime this year in 2026. We might pivot to early next year, but
Hmm.
um, yeah, definitely be on the lookout.
Yeah, I was actually at that one. I think we all hung out with Chuck and Mark and everyone at Ted's house.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a lot of fun.
we did that one there, and that was great because there I got to meet Larry Fishburne. Lawrence
Oh, yes.
Lawrence Fishburne was there, and I got a picture with him
I
because
mean,
he's
that
a big
was,
big ska fan.
yeah, that was quite the get. Howard, I think Howard Parr was the one that really pulled that off with yeah, Larry Fishburne. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that was great because he's such a great actor, just a cool dude.
I know.
He's so
I know.
smooth, man.
Yeah, yeah. I did try it. Junior and I tried to get him on our podcast. It didn't work out. Not yet.
Yeah, you got to get Fred Armisen. You got
We're trying for Fred too.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
But some of the artists that you have interviewed on History of LA Ska, most recently Richard Blade of K Rock and DJ
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, no, wait a minute. Let's back up, kids. I listened to Richard Blade back then, man. He did not play a whole lot of ska. What was he? He was mornings or after mornings?
Richard
Was he
Blade,
like
I
10
mean,
o'clock or something in the morning?
In the 80s here, and early 90s here in Southern California. I mean, I don't remember his time slot, but I mean, but K-Rock was just so
Yeah.
crucial, obviously, for a lot of the two-tone and Fishbone and Untouchables back in
Yeah,
the
Richard Blade was not playing that though. So I'm like, I was
Oh,
just wondering, like,
yeah,
like
I mean, he did, and he was
he played
saying that,
he played the English beat. He did like
yeah,
the English beat. Yeah.
yeah, and he said that the DJs did have some opportunities to play their own music as well. It wasn't all, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, but that was an honor though.
oh,
Interesting.
if I got the opportunity to interview Richard Blade, I'd definitely jump on it. I don't care what genre he played.
Yeah,
I'll, I'll bet I'll bet you would.
on that front, the listen, I love to curate and book, and Junior and I obviously host it together. Um, all different types of guests, from the legends, which are clearly documented, and getting the legends on tape is Junior my biggest goal, right? Because as we saw recently with Stranger Cole and Carlos Malcolm, we're clearly losing these legends. So we really enjoy that. We've had, you know, from Derek Morgan to we interviewed Stranger and Carlos and Norma Frazier and Larry McDonald and Val Douglas and Roy Ellis and Vernon Maytone, and Clive Tenor. I mean, a lot of the legends, which we're very fortunate. Susan Cadogan, um, and
Pauline
then
Black, Horace Panter, Sean Flowerdew of the Loafers. I'm
Yes,
sorry. Yeah.
yes.
Um, and God, there was the other what's his name? The rockabilly guy,
We had
Roddy
Roddy.
Byers.
We had Roddy. Yeah, yeah. We have at Linville. We've had Rhoda Dakar and Sarah Jane. Um,
Yep.
and then tons of SoCal legends, right? From Norwood. The Norwood interview was hilarious.
I
Um,
bet.
you know, uh, guys from the
Yeah.
Agrolites
You got
and
Skeletones, you have Let's Go Bowling on there. You've got key
yeah,
players in the scene. You've had the Agrolite guys on there. You've had
yeah.
yeah.
We've had a few of like the alumni, like we did a Donkey Show alumni episode, which was a lot of
Matt
fun.
Parker. Yeah.
We actually well, by the time this will air, Dynamics alumni episode will be out.
Nice.
So that yeah, those were a lot of fun. But as I was going to say, Mikey, to your point about Richard Blade, the some of the ones that you can call them zingers, you can call them just kind of out of the box, but um, Don Letts, right? We had Don Letts, and
Uh,
clearly, and one of the first things he said when we interviewed him, he was like, "I don't know anything. I don't know much about ska," so which is hilarious. But obviously, his contributions to music, you
yeah.
can argue.
Big
John
Audio
Avila,
Dynamite.
yes, correct. And then John Avila from Oingo Boingo. He was a
Hmm.
guest, but he did produce some ska acts over the years. So you
We
know,
had all those damn talented musicians for Pocket Lent because those guys were flipping
yes, that
amazing.
was the other
Ike and
reunion.
Aaron. Yeah.
That was the other alumni
Yeah,
episode.
of course, after Ike and Aaron passed, unfortunately, but
Yes.
rest in peace to
Yeah.
them.
And then we try to do some creative like roundtable discussions. We did one recently on like a promoter one. We've had some DJ roundtables, some Latin ska. We did one on San Diego, one on the Bay Area. So we'll continue to do some of those as well. Those are always fun.
Yeah, you got a lot of great interviews, and you're on episode 200 and what now?
No, no, I wish.
Oh,
No, we're the dynamics will be, I think, 128,
128. Oh, it's pretty up there still though.
but it is. It
I
is.
I am catching up to you though.
You're
I'm,
cranking them out.
I'm
I don't.
catching
I
up to
think
you.
you're cranking them out at a speed that would that would. I don't. I mean,
It's
kudos to you, buddy.
it's not that's not by my choice. It's Mikey's making me do it.
No, but
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm making him. I'm twisting his arm. Yeah, that's me.
you're the boss man. But on the podcast front, coming or during COVID when there was that ska boom in the sense of, books on ska and podcasts and documentaries and this and that. It's and Daryl, you and I have spoken about this, but it's ska, or ska adjacent. There's so much out there, meaning band wise and artists and those in front of the scene or in, front of the curtain, behind the curtain. Um, and so it is important for all these podcasts to exist and to be able to give these platforms to bands and DJs and Mikey, your radio show. I mean, it's all of this, right? It clearly it sounds cliche, but it truly takes a village to help keep things going and moving. So I love the fact that there's a number of great podcasts out there too.
and it's funny because I was thinking early on when I started doing it, it's like, oh man, what if we run out of bands or content? What's going to happen? But it's like there's so much
We're
out
gonna run out of ska bands, bro.
there.
That's what's gonna happen.
But like you said, all the players behind the scenes, producers, promoters, all of that. Like John Roy too, that has been in the scene
Oh my
for
gosh. Yeah.
way forever. He's like one of the Southern California ska father. Um,
Yeah.
and he's still cranking stuff out, doing his thing, all the dub stuff. He helps everybody. He's
Oh yeah. Oh
like an
yeah.
amazing. So kudos to John Roy and everything he does. And he gives Mikey a lot of great content for his show as well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love everything that Smoke and Mirrors puts out. Some incredible. And
Yeah.
I had the pleasure of an honor. He asked me to write some liner notes, or an intro, or whatever you call that, in the kind of an overview of the most recent project. So that was super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a lot for the festivals too. He brings his
Yeah.
dub set, him and Brian and Eric
Yeah.
Abbey. or Brian Wallace and Eric Abbey, bringing that all to Supernova,
Supernova. I
which
know.
I got to see them at work, and my God, those guys did not stop. Those guys were just nonstop cranking stuff out. Just
Incredible.
they're amazing.
The Dove Masters.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Um, we actually have Eric on Sunday. Eric Abbey. We're going to
Oh,
interview him
nice. Very cool.
for his one of his bands, Detroit Rhythm Crew.
Oh, nice.
Um, but yeah, so um, that whole podcast with you and Junior, but initially that podcast was started by Junior, right?
No, he and I both launched that
You did it
together.
together. Okay,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
apologies for that. Yeah,
No, all good. All good.
yeah,
Believe me, it would not happen without Junior. The love and respect and relationships that he has with the legends, especially, is, I mean, is just is wild
crucial. Yeah,
is so crucial to, and I know we'll get there, but also crucial to the pairings of the legends with the younger talent, and a lot of that through the Ska Mania series and other shows that he and I worked on together.
right.
I owe so much to, as my daughters will say, Uncle Junior. So
That's funny, Uncle Junior. It sounds funny.
Uncle Junior. I like that.
Now, I'm curious because I've always wanted to ask you, how do you choose the talent that you have on your podcast? Is it people that you respect, people that you've always wanted to interview? Because for me, and Mikey knows this, certain bands I've always wanted to interview and nerd out on.
Yeah,
We interviewed Bucket from the Toasters a couple of weeks ago, and Mikey and I tried our hardest not to nerd out on him.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's so for
Fanboy.
me, I started because I want to talk to the bands that I love. So I'm going to choose all the bands that I love, and hopefully they want to talk to us.
Yes. Yeah. I would say it's a combination of the, I mean, on the legend side of things, just kind of take it in some buckets. On the legend side of things, um, I mean, listen, there is a finite amount of ska, rock steady, and early reggae legends that are alive, right? I mean, that is finite. Ska bands, maybe not, Mikey, but as far as legends, yes.
No, no, you're right. You're right. Yeah.
So
And it's getting slimmer.
it is. And so, to be honest, Junior and I have a list of those legends that and there are a number of them that we really have tried and are going to continue to try to get. And to be honest, most of the time on the legend side, if it doesn't work out, it's not because they're not interested. It's either because they don't have they don't have someone that can help them with some of the technology, or it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. But on the legend side, we've not really gotten like a no, like we're not interested. So that's always an honor, and we'll definitely continue to do more of the legends. And then on the others, I'd say it's those that Junior and I really want to interview. Sometimes we time it around events, right? Much like you do, Daryl. Like we're gonna have another Supernova preview episode. The Dynamics, because they're reuniting for Ska Mania,
Mhm.
and so yeah, we'll sometimes do it around certain things, or as it relates to kind of these themed panels or roundtables. It might just be like, you know what, these three club DJs, haven't had the due respect. Let's get them together, or whatever, right? So I don't know if there's really a true method other than just trying to interview as much. We do focus. Some of this is because of the name of the panel, and we don't want to necessarily open the floodgates, so to speak. But outside of the legends and outside of the buckets of the world or what have you, we do try to do most of like California.
Mhm.
We will make exceptions, but we'll leave some of the others to this podcast, Daryl. And I've learned tons through the bands you've interviewed, believe me.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
you've
but
also
our
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, but our cadence has been more so at most twice a month. I mean, it's tough to do. It's tough to even do that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I think I've kind of bastardized the channel. I initially wanted, it's funny because I don't know if I told Mikey this before, but I initially wanted to name the podcast "The History of LA Ska Punk." but I said, "Oh my God, that would never go over with well with you guys at all." So I was like, "No, that's definitely not going to work." That was a thought in my head for a
I
second.
would have said Daryl who? I don't know him.
Exactly. Let's squash that channel, that podcast. Forget that. Um, but yeah, there's tons of bands out there, and for me, the content, it's just whoever I feel like it too. Plus, Mikey turns me on to lots of bands. Mikey turned me on to a band called Space Monkey Mafia that I didn't know of, and now they're one of my favorite bands.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Um,
I don't know them. Okay.
yeah, they're from Minneapolis,
Minneapolis,
Minnesota. They're
Minnesota.
they're
I'll have to
they're
check
good
them
buds
out.
with the prize fighters.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, out there. So,
Great.
but those guys,
Yeah.
so just like through different interviews, talking to bands, I'm always constantly writing stuff down, what bands tell me, different things that I would have never normally
Oh
known.
my gosh. Yeah.
And so it's just amazing to go ahead and just, talk to people and get, you get a good rapport with them. And then of
Yeah.
course, a lot of things that I did in the past with some of my bands was that I used my platform or whatever it was to go ahead and help out bands that I know and vice versa to go ahead and get things like that.
Yeah.
But for me, I definitely want to just do whatever bands I do. With the LA ska thing, you've kind of got a hold on all of that, which is amazing. And I know you and I sometimes talk about, what bands
Yeah. Yeah.
that we're going to interview or not, so we don't step on each
Absolutely.
other's toes too. But yeah, I think it's a great dynamic how everything is in the LA ska scene. We're all I mean, we'll talk about some stuff that you and I are involved in together.
For sure.
Um, but the whole history of LA ska, keep it going. It's amazing. Can't see wait to see. I guess it's the dynamics you have next, right?
Yeah, Dynamics will be out by the time this drops, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. And then
Did Min actually join on that one or no? He
yeah.
did.
Man was on.
Okay.
Man was on. Yeah, yeah. It
Last
was
time
super cool.
last time I talked to him at oh God, I forgot what show it was. I look quite different than I did way back then. So he didn't know who the hell I was
Oh wow.
back then because I look so completely different, like
Is it the gray? I have gray too.
I think it's the gray, it's the beard. I'm bigger because I was really skinny back then and lanky and stuff like that. So he didn't know who the hell. I don't think he
How
still knows
funny.
who I am anymore. But we used to be. I thought we used to be buds back then. I guess not.
How funny. But yeah, no, he was part of that. And then on the history of LA Ska, we, once a day we post on socials, and again, it's a combination of promoting our podcast to old photos, videos, things like that.
Mhm.
And we have fun doing it. So
Yeah, and it's amazing. You share a lot of the old flyers too, of a lot of the shows from God way back in the day,
yeah,
and which is so great to see because there's a lot of people that will be like, "Holy shit, I didn't even know that." Like a lot of people like, "Oh, we didn't know Desmond Decker actually came out here
yeah, yeah, right,
in
right,
San
right.
Pedro."
Yep.
So things like that you never knew. And there's a lot of bands that I talked to. It's like, "Oh, we actually went through your area." At one point, it's like, well, we didn't know sometimes because the
Well,
connections
yeah,
weren't there.
back then it would be so tough. I mean, I see flyers now, and I have same thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I had no idea that show existed or that club or whatever that might be.
Right.
Um, yeah, constantly learning.
Yeah. And that's what's great about it. And then we're all, comrades and stuff like that. We're all trying to keep the music alive, and stuff like that. So it's just it's a great thing that you guys are doing out there.
Yes, well, thank you.
So you did touch on the Grammy Museum that
Yes,
started in 2017. You touched
yes,
on a few, the Ska Her Way panel, which is basically
that
all
was the most recent one, right?
the most recent one, which is a lot of the females who were from different eras
Oh
and
yeah,
different
right.
types of ska. Yeah, right there, that one. You had Persephone on there, of course. You had
Yeah,
uh,
We
Sarah
had
Jane.
Dunia Best from Rude Girl Review. We had Gina Rodriguez from the Shanties and Cover Ups. Author Heather Augustin.
Mhm,
Karina from Dancehall Crashers, Jack Queen P, Sarah Jane from the Body Snatchers, and Tara from Half Past Two.
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that's great because the variety of representation there
yeah,
was just amazing. I wanted to go so bad, I couldn't make it then. Um,
Yeah,
for
you and me both, bro.
I know, I know.
but
Well,
you're on an
I
island.
mean, the that's true. But all of the Grand Museum events, are available on our YouTube channel as well. So people can watch those. Um, and then the one that we did before that was we showed the Dance with Me Greg Lee tribute highlights from the tribute concert that Joe from Steady 45's shot.
Mm,
We showed those highlights at the museum, and then there was a panel discussion after that as well. And that was early 2025 when we did that one.
right, right. Yeah, I believe I was at that Greg Lee show, and I think I saw you there too. But I mean, the cast of musicians at that show was stunning. It was amazing. You had like very famous people and just people that are just like just amazing in the scene that are just have kept the glue
Yeah.
together. And for everyone to come and celebrate Greg's life
Yeah.
was great, and I appreciate you putting that together too.
That was an amazing event. And one thing too that I've learned over the years and my day job, the job that pays the bills is I do sponsorship, basically account management um for AEG, concert promoter. But through my years of experience and connections, if I can ever use some of that, right, to for relationships or to the advantage of sharing contacts with others. And so the El Rey Theater, right, obviously a venue that I've been able to work with, Junior and I've been able to work with over the years. And so that venue's become extra special, and that venue hosted this Greg Lee celebration, and not necessarily by design, but also hosted the Dave Fuentes tribute, the
Yeah,
bassist, right, for Hepcat, and the Owens brothers
yeah,
as well. And so I had the pleasure of helping curate each of those, and help raise money for the families, which is probably some of the most important work that I've done, and just to celebrate their lives and their contributions, obviously, to the scene.
right, right. That's awesome. You have a great heart, Eric. Appreciate you.
Well,
So you've had
people
so
people have stepped up when right, at times people's true hearts and true selves shine in a good way.
yeah, definitely keep it up. So how did that whole relationship with the Grammy Museum start? How were you able
Uh,
to get in there?
yeah, I mean, to be honest, as I mentioned, through my work connections,
Mm,
I I work with, so the Grand Museum is at LA Live, and um, which AEG runs, and so I know the Grand Museum people through that relationship, and they were open to hosting that Legends of Ska documentary screening back in 2014, and then we've been able to do them since. So
mm.
we're very very
Yeah.
thankful for that relationship.
And I see a lot of posting that you do of all those concerts, and you just came back from London. I think you saw Duran Duran when you were out there too.
Duran Duran, yep, yep, yep,
So you're
exactly.
all over the place. So it's great with your job that you've got those connections, and then I'm sure you're able to see a lot of these great festivals and stuff like that, shows because of
Very
the
very
connections you
thankful.
made.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, uh, I wanted to talk about the Caribbean jazz. Okay, I'm going to make sure I say it right. The Havana-Kingston connection,
Yes.
the Caribbean jazz. You are the host Fridays from 11 to 1 on KLON, playing the best in Jamaican jazz, ska, Afro-Cuban rhythms, Latin jazz, and more. And I believe you started this in 2001. Is that correct?
Yes, unfortunately, it's no longer on, but I did,
Oh,
right. So from I wish I was. So from '01 to '05, I hosted that. Yeah, so in college at Cal State Long Beach, I worked part-time at KLON, which is a big jazz and blues station, 88.1, as you mentioned. Um, and so that's where I got that connection. And then I was able to, in '01, start this specialty show. They were expanding some of their specialty shows beyond like the core jazz and blues. And my good friend and often collaborator Sean Heitkemper was station manager at the time. And so I kicked off that show, which was initially called as the logo behind you, Caribbean Jazz, and then the subtitle was Havana-Kingston Connection. Over the first year or so, we dropped Caribbean Jazz, and it just became the Havana-Kingston Connection. But yeah, it was basically music from and inspired by Cuba and Jamaica. I've always been, not always, but since the late '90s, fascinated by that connection. The Scatolites would cover Mongo Santa Maria and different Cuban songs, and but so I would just play music from and inspired by those two island nations, and had a lot of fun doing it. Literally every Friday night, I did it. I followed the jazz and the Latin side program, and I only missed a handful of shows. Joey Altruda filled in for me a couple times when I couldn't do it, which was an honor. But I love doing that. I got to interview Rico Rodriguez when we brought him to
Mm.
town. He and then Joey Altruda I interviewed, and maybe a couple of others. But it was a lot of fun just curating that program.
Was Joey
Um,
still living down here at the time when he did it? Of course.
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
he was still living here. Yeah,
Oh,
because it was around the time that we were doing some shows with Joey as well, like at the El Rey. But
yeah.
yeah, I loved that program, and I just got busy. And I think new station man ownership came in, and uh, I had a feeling that I might be cut, so I instead wanted to end it on my own terms.
Wasn't there? I'm not sure if that was the same channel or frequency that had. There was another Latin jazz.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the one that was on right before me.
oh, got it.
Jose
That's what it was.
Jose Jose Risto, he's still on. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
because I
I
remember
came
that.
on I came on right after him.
Yeah, so I remember like the channel barely came in when I lived out in Arleta or down in Arleta. The channel barely came on, so you got to get it in the right place just to hear it. And, because you didn't really hear that much Latin jazz on the channel
No, no,
or
no.
on the
No, you're
radio
right.
back then.
You're right. Yeah. But I was able to, through the radio station in December of 2000, they organized a trip. I was able to go to Havana, and that was also just after I started getting into like the Buena Vista Social Club. And
Mhm.
so I really got bit by that, by Cuban music, Afro-Cuban music. And that combined obviously with my love of Jamaican music, uh, you know, yielded the radio show, and I
Mhm.
loved it. I miss it. I miss it.
Right. Your old friend Ted Morris used to have his own show, the Rude Review,
Yeah.
out
Yes.
at when he was
Done
in
tech.
I think it's a Pitzer. He was out of Pitzer.
Claremont. Claremont.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that also KSBC?
Yes.
Yeah,
KSPC.
Yeah,
KSBC, the
that's
Rude Review. Yeah.
the station the junior's on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. So, and it's funny because I met Ted really early on. I used to listen to the Root Review, and then I asked him if I can come on, or he asked me, I don't remember, and bring music. So went in and brought a lot of music that
Oh
like
wow.
he didn't have. So I got to sit there with him and play music, and that was pretty awesome. And I was just some dumb young kid, at the time. Now I'm just a dumb old adult, but it was really crucial for me in getting
Yeah.
to the scene where I was already in the scene, but getting more mature in the scene, having Ted kind of guide me and help me out, and just the kindness that he showed towards me then. So there's a
Yeah,
lot of
listen, and it's still important, Mikey, because obviously you're a young veteran DJ, but back then, especially right when there was no internet,
Right. Yeah.
obviously in the 2000s there was, but in the 90s, well, like what you're talking about, Daryl,
Mhm,
those specialty shows, the reggae beat with Hank Holmes and Chuck Foster and Roger Steffens and Miss
mhm,
Wireways when she was on, and K-Rock's Reggae Revolution, and juniors programs like Makeda down in San Diego. All those shows were just so crucial to learning about the music.
mhm.
Like I don't know if I would have heard Culture or Twinkle Brothers or some of these amazing roots artists that early on if it wasn't for, or even some of the Rocksteady back then. Like that was so crucial to having somebody, these radio DJs, right, curate and tell stories and introduce us to stuff that you wouldn't hear on commercial radio, right?
Mhm.
So
Right.
important.
And that's where you find some of the best tunes, and then pass it on to your
Yeah.
friends or make cassette tapes and and
Oh,
dub
I
it for
love it.
them.
Mixtapes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know back in the day there was a lot of like for promoters and stuff like that, there was a Luis was doing a lot of the traditional ska, and for me, I was doing like all the ska punk type of thing,
Yeah.
and John Panel was doing both, but he was doing
Right.
it at the House of Blues then.
Yes.
Now we've got John Halpern doing stuff at the Glass House, and he
Yes.
grew up in the scene. Yeah, I remember when he first
Right.
started. And so
Vegas Records.
what exactly? It's just amazing for him to all these guys in the scene to kind of keep chugging away and doing stuff, and everyone helping each other, and that's the best thing for the scene that we're actually in.
So true.
So with that whole Kingston connection thing,
Yeah.
so KLON, that was your who
So
offered
that
something to you.
so KLON, which is now K Jazz, it's still on the air. It's still station rather, Jazz and Blues. So I worked there part-time on the membership department back from actually 94 to 96. And that's when I also started working the Long Beach Blues Festival. And that's, to be honest, that's kind of where I got the bug of working festivals and kind of curating. And the other thing that KLON taught me, and this was again years before my radio show there, is I answered phones when I wasn't stuffing envelopes like membership stuff. And people would call in and say, "Hey, what was that song that DJ Chuck Niles played at 12:05 p.m.?" And I'd go into the studio, grab the log, and I'd look and I'd see, and then so I would say the artist, the name of the song, and they'd say, "All right, so what album, was that on? What year was it recorded? What studio?" And I'd have to go in this in the studio, grab the album, and then they would say, "Who played tenor sax?" And I'm like, so I'd look, and I started, really a light went off, and I said, you know what? Up until that point, I would really listen only to pop, not pop, but commercial radio, K-Rock and others. Yeah, most you'd hear the name of the song and the artist, right? Maybe you'd hear if it's a new album, but beyond that, you would never hear about. And I realized the true importance of like musicianship and studios and producers and all writers and it really resonated so well with me from then on, right? And like, all this stuff matters, right? It's sure, maybe it's the Miles Davis quintet and Miles is the front person and that's who the, uh, album it's on, but who are the other players, right? So that
Key
was really
players, everyone who rounds out the sound.
correct. Yeah. So that was really eye-opening to me. And so then, yes, fast forward to '01, I was offered to do this radio show, which I did for 5 years.
Right, right. Now, how did you actually prep for a show for the Havana-Kingston connection?
Um, I would spend almost as much time as my 2 hour show the night before or earlier that day prepping. It was all CDs that I would play, and I would just mix it. I would. It was a healthy mix, kind of, to be honest, kind of like maybe the mix of how our podcast series, some of the legends along with some modern, bands. I played a lot of Hepcat and Jumpa Joey and um, New York Ska Jazz Ensemble. I would play a lot of instrumentals, but then I'd also play some early ska rock city stuff, and then a lot of like Celia Cruz and Benny Moré and
Mm-hmm.
Tito Puente and Mongo Santa Maria, Buena Vista Social Club, all different types of singers and bands, and it was a blast.
Sounds like a blast. And then you had to bring in your own music, of course, because
I
what you
did.
wanted to
Yeah.
play.
I could go into the library, but they didn't like, to be honest, the only artist that I'd play from the library, and I actually learned about him through the station, was Monty Alexander, because they would play a lot of Monty. And I had no idea the first time that I heard him on the radio station there that he was Jamaican. And so I started playing a lot of Monty and had the pleasure of interviewing him for our
Hmm.
podcast series, which was great. So
Right, right. And so, and in your show, when you did that, did you also talk about the other players, like who played the tenor sax in it, who played this, who played that, who was on the
that's
piano?
that's a great question. A little bit. Not to be honest, not that much. I didn't talk tons on it. It was I wanted because it was only 2 hours. I tried to let the music do the talking, so to speak.
Yeah.
But there were a few that I would feature like that and talk about some of the players. But
Mhm.
no, not as much as I should have probably in retrospect.
Now, I know that we touched base a little on some of the shows that you have, but you have I do want to touch base on the next show that you have coming up for Ska Mania. You've got
Yes.
you tell us about the show that
Yeah, yeah. So Ska Mania, which really is Junior's baby, Junior Francis,
Mhm,
and he started Ska Mania in 2010 with Stranger Cole. But the most recent one that's upcoming on August 8th is the Pioneers returning to Southern California, backed by the Steady 45s. The Dynamics have reunited for the show.
mhm,
The Trojanites, a great all-star collective, and then Rag Sound is on the bill, and that's at La Santa in Santa Ana, California, on Saturday, August 8th. So that's gonna be a blast. Really looking forward to that. And on the Ska Mania side of things, you know, Junior, it was a collaboration between Junior and Stranger Cole.
mhm,
Um, and kicked that off. And Sire had a lot to do with that. The first location for that uh, particular Skymania show was at the Joint on Pico, um, and then Skymania moved over from there to Los Globos in like the Silver Lake area, and Junior and I helped him as much as I could. Junior then brought like Derek Morgan and Scatolites and Pat Kelly and then a whole list of incredible legends
mhm,
to Skymania, um, and then it took a break because of COVID um, and then coming out of COVID, it kicked back in, um, and that's when shows like at the El Rey Theater started coming back, and the Glass House, and um, some incredible artists, legends. You know the Daryl the, but the key part too for Skymania, and I know we've talked off air about this, but is the pairings, right, of the legends with these
yeah,
incredible modern bands. Um, and Junior and I started doing that. Again, we have to give thanks to Lewis and Steady Beat, because the the first Legend show that we worked on with him, that we worked on at all, but it was with him, was Justin Hines and the Dominoes
mhm.
in Pasadena, and that was in '97
At the Loft, right?
at the Loft, correct.
I remember
Um,
that place.
and then a year later really was the first one where a legend was paired with the local backing man, and that was Eric Monty Morris, backed by the Allentons down in Long Beach. And that's where it kicked off, in the sense of, there's these amazing legends that Junior primarily has these contacts with,
Mhm,
and then we have this incredible talent, and obviously, um, Lewis has some great connections to some of the venues, and I had some connections. So then we did not with Lewis, but we did Carlos Malcolm
mhm,
in Pomona. He put together a modern day version of his Afro Jamaican rhythms. We did Laurel Aiken, one of his last shows in Pomona, and then we went back to working with Luis, and we did Phyllis Dillon
mhm.
at
We're in
the
Pomona.
Pomona. It was at the I have to look at the posters. Uh,
Eh,
Characters, was it?
Carlos Malcolm was at Club Ska Bawah, which was inside the Tiki Room,
I'm not
and
familiar with them.
then Laurel Aiken was at the Vault in Pomona. Both
Okay.
both of them were down the street from. Neither of them are there now, but they were down the street from the
Yeah.
Glass House.
Yeah.
Um,
Used to hang out in Pomona quite a bit.
yes, yeah, and that's Junior's stomping grounds. Um, and
Okay.
then and then the Phyllis Dillon show was end of September of 2001, and uh, she had been here a couple times,
Mhm,
playing a lot to like the Caribbean community. And she noticed that there were a number of, rude boys and girls and skinheads, and some of the LA scene would come out and see her. And so she was very happy to come out and headline her own show, and Kingston 10 backed her, but it was end of September. And so after September 11th happened, I called I called Phyllis and I said, "Hey, I know that first, how are you and your family?" Because she lived in New York. And I said, "I know that you hate flying." I said, "Why don't we let's postpone the show?" Clearly there was a lot of uncertainty and what have you. And so she said, "Oh no." She said, I have to. And so it was and you might remember LAX, they had remote lots. You couldn't pick up people at the terminals. So you had to go to
Mhm.
a parking lot. So I described to Phyllis what I looked like. Clearly, I knew what she looked like. And what I didn't tell her was what shirt I was going to wear. So I wore I think it was a Prince Buster shirt or a Laura Aitken shirt because I thought, all right, maybe she'll she'll say, wait a minute, that's a ska shirt. And so
Yeah.
anyway, but that show was amazing. Kingston 10 did an incredible job. And then the year later was Derek Morgan, backed by the Rough and Tough All Stars, which was members of and it predated the Agrolites, but members of Agrolites and Hepcat and some incredible musicians there. Those were both at the Whiskey.
Hmm.
Um, so that kind of was a start of a number of these legends and modern band pairings that Junior and I worked on. We did Rico Rodriguez backed by the Allentons at the El Rey Theater. That's up here somewhere. Um, we were supposed to do um, we were supposed to do Lord Tonimo
Oh.
at the El Rey Theater, and that was one. And he was going to be back by After Hours, the All Star group After Hours, and he never made his flight, so he never made it. So that was a show that that could have been. Unfortunately, he never made it to Southern California. But I did when when we booked that show. I was I was up in Toronto for a arena marketing conference, and Brad Klein from Legends of Ska introduced me. Um, I guess it was via email or somehow to Tonimo, and so he lived up in Toronto. So we agreed to meet up, and I was going to ask him about doing the show in LA. And so we go to this Jamaican restaurant. We eat. This was around 11 a.m. and he was adamant about going around the corner to a bar. And I said, I have to go to a work conference. I don't know if I really want to drink at 11:30 in the morning. But he insisted, and he was wearing a three-piece suit.
Oh.
And so we go there, and he asks for, I don't know, $1 or something. And he goes to the jukebox, and he wanted me to hear that his album, where he was backed by Dr. Ringding and the Senior All Stars, we sat there and we listened to his entire album. Like he was so proud that it was in this bar. And so that's when I asked him about, hey, you want to come to LA? And so at least I did have that, I don't know, 90 minutes with Tonimo.
Now,
Um,
whatever happened? Did you ever find out why he didn't make it?
yeah, he I they asked so he didn't have like a work permit or visa to come here. And I don't know if he'd ever been to Southern California. And
Oh.
so they asked him some questions and I think he answered incorrectly and it raised the flag. And so it was one of those things that unfortunately he never made his flight and he was too embarrassed, I think, to let us know. So that was the one concert that could have been, but was
So
not.
the show
The
you
show went
found
on.
out before. Okay, so you found out that he just never showed up to the show, but the show. So
So literally a show day, all we know is Tanimo's not here. His manager couldn't reach him. Brian Keogh was his manager who worked with also the Skatalites,
Mhm.
but he couldn't reach him, and so we literally just had to have a sign that at the El Rey that said Lord Tonimo will not be performing tonight. I think we ended up refunding maybe 5 people. Like most people were okay still coming in after hours. I think primarily Chuck Farrar ended up singing a bunch of Tonimo songs, and there were a couple other bands on the bill, and ended up being a great show. But yeah, that one didn't happen. And then we did a few other like Joey Altruda All Stars and other a few other shows at the El Rey, and then the two um, uh, famous, so to speak, shows at the Fonda Theater with these legends that Junior and I worked with the promoter Boris Mills on. And I say famous in the sense that, I'm extremely fortunate because these shows were the ones in summer of '06 that literally had, one show had Alton Ellis, Derek Morgan, Pat Kelly, Dennis Al Capone, Owen Gray on it. And
That's it.
with that's it. With the expanders backing some of them, Persephone's LA All-Star Review backing some, and then
Mm.
Aton's Kingston Ska Collective backing. I mean, it was like a dream for the ska rock city scene. And
Mhm.
then 2 months later, there was another one that had Leroy Sibbles, Stranger Cole, Ethiopian Leonard Dillon, and Ken Booth.
Oh God.
And so, like those to this day, those are the two legend shows, paired with local talent that, I mean, I'll
Mhm.
forever be so thankful, to Boris for doing, and obviously Junior helping, and
Mhm.
very special. So that really helped, I think, inspire Junior to kick off Ska Mania. Um, and Junior and I would also recommend talent to Warren Smith at, for Sierra Nevada World Music Festival. Um, and through that, our connections also, not on the legend side of things, but Junior and I got to recommend talent for a number of years to the Hollywood Bowl for their reggae night too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially, I mean, like you did mention a lot of the key players that Agrolites are backing up like Linville Golding, and there's so many like Steady 45s back up
oh
so
my
many
God,
people, and
they're
just
top of the
amazing
game.
because these players like I believe I've heard or seen when these legends actually play with these guys, they're pretty much amazed on how
They are.
spot on they are
Yes.
with the
Yes.
music. It's not like they're sloppy; they're tight.
Yeah. Yeah. Junior's heard it numerous times. I mean, Derek Morgan's told him over the years, and Stranger, and all these legends. I mean, I think the pioneers insist on here in the States to work with steady 45s, and
Hmm.
and which and they're on top of their game, and really I think, and Junior and I kind of remembered this when we were interviewing Devin and John Butcher from the Expanders. The Expanders really were the first go-to consistent go-to backing band for those legends, right? In the mid 2000s or late 2000s. And then the Delarians did some, and obviously now the Steady 45s and Agrolites still obviously with Linville and Royales. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean the incredible talent here in Southern California is just mind-blowing.
It is. It's amazing. It's almost like we're so damn spoiled, you
Yeah.
know. And
Yeah.
especially because a lot of people are like Hepcat. There's like, oh, Hepcat's coming out. There's people on the East Coast. It's like, dude, we see Hepcat all the time here. I mean, it's not like it's bad. It's
Yeah.
amazing, but we've been seeing them for 30 something years, which we're
Right, right.
so spoiled to get to see
Yeah.
that. Plus,
Right.
all of the damn guy, I mean, like Eric Crucials, and he plays with Jackie's band too, and
Yeah,
Chris plays
yeah.
with Jackie's band too,
Yeah.
and everybody else. Aton's doing his own thing with Western Standard Time.
Yes.
When he got
Yeah, I love
started,
them.
just amazing musicians that we have in this area. So anybody who's listening out there outside of LA, you know, eat your heart out.
But we do need, in order for those bands and for the promoters to keep booking those bands, it's so important for fans to come out. Like
Mhm.
and you both know this. I mean, it's so easy to binge watch on Netflix or whatever and just stay home, and
Mhm.
because it takes a lot, especially if, people have jobs or families, and like it's not easy, but at the same time, if fans want the music to keep going,
Mhm.
you gotta support, you gotta come out, because we've seen clubs, we've seen, bands, not touring as much and get discouraged. It's tough.
Mhm. And there's a lot of the older bands like C Spot and After Hours, and Dynamic Pressure, and all those types of bands have paved the way for a lot of the other bands that we see.
Yes.
Like you said, the Trojanites, the A100s, the Elysians. What's the other band? that Blanco y Negro,
Yeah.
bands
Uh-huh.
like that are coming out of the woodwork, but these are just amazing musicians
For sure.
because they've studied the bands that have come before them and
Yeah.
they just perfect their art, which is just so
Yeah.
awesome. We have like the best because for the I when I started out in ska, I was like Bim Scala and Toasters and stuff like that. Then when I started working with Luis, it's all the trad ska, so I started loving all of that. But I would see all his shows before, not knowing who the hell he was, uh,
Yeah.
until Don Heiser from the Scalander. Do you remember the Scalander?
Yes.
It was
Yes.
a little Skazi back then. She introduced me to him.
Okay.
And I never even knew he worked here. And so he picked me up one day and we went to a show and we just hit it off and decided to do the thing and have never looked back, which is amazing. But
Yeah,
I do go ahead.
oh, Dare, I was just gonna say, I mean, the the reality of things too is, in the 90s, Steady Beat, you were around, obviously there were a few promoters. Um, and then in the 2000s, Chris Murray and his Blue Beat Lounge was so crucial to the scene.
Definitely.
In so many ways. I mean, to do it weekly, to have up to three bands every week is just mind blowing, right? And Chris's endurance and commitment there, right, is just incredible. And so, we don't have that on the regular now, right? Especially for
Mhm.
all ages, which I think is really, really challenging. I mean, Junior constantly tries to find a spot for all ages, and there's a few that are around, like Program. A skate shop here in Orange County supports a
Mhm.
lot of the ska punk stuff, and obviously the Garden Amp and Glass House, but there's not tons that really support more of the traditional side of things in the legends. So that's been really challenging. But big kudos to Chris Murray and a lot of what he did. And also too, if it wasn't for the Blue Beat Lounge, um, who knows if Hepcat would have reunited when they did reunite in
Mhm.
2003, because it was we had the pleasure of doing a Reggae Nucleus anniversary show there, and there was a little all-star group, um, and a lot of those players were from Hepcat, and I guess from word on the street is that they love playing together again, and so shortly after that they said, you know what, let's start playing again together. Um, so if it wasn't for Blue Beat Lounge, who knows, right?
Yeah, Chris keeping the scene alive there. And it's funny because Mikey and I were just talking to and I mentioned to you, we texted the other day about we had Eric White from Go Jimmy Go.
Oh
And
yeah, I saw
and
Mm.
them at Blue Beat. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about that Chris is doing that, and there was a DVD that Chris put out also, of some of the bands there. I mean, he had different types of bands. He had Go 13.
yeah,
Also from
right.
there, he had some Latin ska punk band.
Yeah,
So
yes,
he was almost single handedly trying to keep things going.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
when you're trying to get three bands a week,
Yeah,
yeah,
you have to expand your.
yeah.
That's true. That's a fair point.
Now let's talk about your band management that you did, the
Yes.
Rockery in the early 2000s. You managed such bands as the Agrolites, the Lions. Who else did you
Yeah.
manage at that time?
So Sean Heitkemper, who I mentioned from my Kalo and K-Jazz days, who's a good buddy of mine, he and I started the Rockery, yeah, early 2000s. In the first couple of years, um, we also started to try to, I guess, help develop certain artists. We even worked with Malik Moore, some. We worked with Penny Real, Joanne, and Brandon. Um, but really, it was the Agrolites that we started working with, and we managed for a few years. And again, I met those guys through Reggae Nucleus and through doing these shows with Junior. Um,
That back
so
when they were doing the Rhythm Doctors, right?
correct,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. Um, so yeah, so Sean and I started working with the Agrolites, managing them. uh, it was when they toured on Warped. They did. I helped get him a gig at Coachella. They did the collaboration with Tim Armstrong, right, for his album. Sean and I were just completely blown away by primarily their onstage presence. I mean, it was just a spectacle, and it still is. And I remain great friends with a lot of the guys. Jesse Wags the barber cuts my hair. And so we had a great time managing them. Sean went on the road a little bit with them. It was a lot of fun. I mean, clearly there's challenges to any to managing in general. But Sean and I were doing that as a labor of love, as a side hustle, so to speak. And then shortly after, even overlapping, when we managed the Aggrolites, we managed the Lions, which is a great all-star reggae group. Not currently very active, but um, you know, Alex and Destin from Hepcat, they were in it. Malik, Dan Ubig, Todd Simon was one of the founders, and just incredible musicians in that group. So that was a lot of fun. Um, and then Sean and I started managing this incredible uh, psychedelic soul band out of. They split their time between Berlin and Paris, and they're called King Khan and the Shrines. It was like, I don't know, Sun Ra meets the Dap Kings or something like that. It was just super, super wild and cool. So we worked with them for a couple of years. And then I was asked by an old school manager, Susan Markheim, to co-manage Kimani Marley. And Susan used to work at Island Records back in the day. And so it was an honor that I was asked. And so for about a year and a half or so, I co-managed Kimani with Susan. So to be able to work with a Marley was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot from managing him. And so uh, that was the vast majority. Worked with Bill Purdy a little bit as well, and this group Beatmo. It was fun. Sean and I had a great time. And one thing that I've realized too, I realize the importance and my love of having a partner in crime and collaborator, right? Whether it's clearly Junior on the regular now, but Sean Heitkamper and I, on the management side, or Ireno, and he and I had the magazine, and to be able to bounce ideas and collaborate, and one person has certain strengths, the other person has other strengths. I think that
Mhm.
that's super important.
Definitely.
That's what I've always really tried to focus on too.
Now that name Heitkemper, it's not very.
Bar one.
All right. So
Remember
does
bar
Sh
one?
no, no. What is that?
Uh, they had a bar in the valley. He and his wife Arlene have the Mermaid in downtown LA,
Oh, okay. Oh, wait. No, I
where
don't.
we did the after party for
Yes, okay. I know it
for the
sounded
Grammys.
familiar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We took a
yeah.
picture in front of that place, I think,
Mm. We
with
did, we did. Yeah.
with Chuck and Kat
Yes, correct,
and Mark and all those guys. Yeah, I remember.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that was it.
Because I thought that sounded familiar. Um,
Yeah,
now I know I used to have an old friend named Dan Heitkemper. Does Sean have a brother? Okay.
he does, but not Dan. Yeah,
Not Dan. Okay. Okay. Because I was wondering, because I worked with Dan at Tower Records back in the early 90s. Um,
good old Tower.
yeah, good on Tower Records. Oh, that's where I got my big start. I mean, I got hired there in
That's right.
92.
I
Yeah,
do remember.
1992, I got hired at Tower Records, and then that's where I started learning about the all the different music and being a buyer and just all of that. And that's how I got a lot of my connections for what I did with Stiff
Yeah,
Dog,
I'm sure. I'm
because I
sure.
was doing the music buyer and I was the receiving clerk at the different places, and then all we had so many bands, live shows at all the different towers, and I ended up last at the Long Beach Tower at Wow,
All right.
and we
Wow,
had like Deftones playing, and
that's
we had
crazy.
Royal Crown Review and Neil Diamond opened our
Oh my God.
our party, our opening the store party,
Wow.
which was awesome. So that's like the first time we got to see Neil Diamond up close, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
I don't think I ever went to the live shows at Tower, but Tower was so crucial. I also loved choosing my seats at the Ticketmaster
Oh yeah.
ticket window there.
God, I remember that. And Music Plus, you get it there. I remember
Robinson's
that now.
Bay.
That was pretty funny. Now let's talk about something that you and I are working on together with a few others, a steady
Yeah.
beat film.
Yes.
Uh, so you and I are working on this film it's not yet released. You and I are writers along with Bubba and Junior and Cat's the director, Ted Morris.
Yep.
Um, there's one more besides you and I that I'm forgetting, I think. Oh no, that's it.
I think
Yeah, I
that's
think
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
Now this film targets the Los Angeles ska scene in the 1990s.
Yes.
Because there was another film that I'm not going to say what the name is, but it's about 90s ska music that completely overlooked our Los Angeles scene.
Yeah,
So,
it was strictly OC ska in the 90s.
well, they did have,
They're, and I'm not going to defend, but they're, Hepcat was in it.
right,
Oh, that's right.
Joey's in it. Um, I guess maybe the two of
Tim,
them.
Tim Armstrong, because he
Tim's in it.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking from
the
more of
Berkeley.
like the traditional scene, but yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah. So, but there was
There we go.
so much that was
Correct.
looked
Total. I
over,
agree.
unfortunately.
Yes.
Now, why do you think that this large part of musical history was completely, in my opinion, glossed over in that film? Because there was a whole other scene that they could have touched base on.
Yeah.
I believe that's the reason why this.
And I've got my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I mean, clearly the OC pop punk ska was mainstream, right? And
Mhm.
got the MTV, the major labels, major radio. So that was clearly the type of ska that was the most well known.
Mhm.
Um, and with the traditional scene being more underground. And so um, I don't know why they necessarily would purposely leave that out, but um, listen, it opens the door for this steady beat film, right?
There you
Um,
go. There you go. Good job,
you
Eric.
know, which which is which is amazing, and I love to see that out there. But I also know how difficult. Well, I hear how difficult it is for documentaries to be made and put out there. I mean, if you I mentioned a few times this Legends of Ska film from Brad Klein. He filmed that concert in 2001, and it still hasn't been released, or
Yeah.
2002. Um, so I'm hoping that Kat and Luis, can can uh can get this one out there, because the story, to your point, and this is I'm sure the reason for your question, is that it does need to be told.
I mean, there's so much history, plus the music, like we discussed earlier in this podcast, it needs to be heard. There's so much greatness out there, and then if people learn about these bands, then they're better for it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you had,
Yeah.
I think you had and I forgot what show it was. You brought back the reunion of the cover-ups.
Yes. Oh, that was for the Greg Lee tribute.
Oh, it was for
Yes.
the that's right, that's right,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that's
Yeah.
right. I remember that, and Luis put out the single by them, and they put out some other
Yeah.
stuff. Which is awesome because there was a lot of great music that there was, like what the Vessels were back then too. There was a lot of
Sure.
girl groups also that were prominent in the scene in that time, which I'm sure a lot of the female fronted bands now um, may or may not have known, that these are
Yeah.
some of the musicians who paved the way for others.
Absolutely. I mean, Ocean 11, Mobtown, right, with Amy and Dynamics. I mean, yes, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely good stuff. But yeah, that film, it's gonna cover a lot of stuff, and I can't wait. And I unfortunately,
Yeah.
I reach
You
out to
guys have a
Kat every
date
so
yet?
often. What's that?
I've
Do you
not
have a
heard the
release
date.
date?
No, I've not heard a release date yet. I know that I think they still need to film a few of the interviews with some of the folks that were part of the scene, and then um, beyond that, I'm not quite sure. But
Yeah, one's Joey. I know that Kat's still gotta get him for the interview, and then I
yeah,
think there's some other parts she said that the interview that the sound quality wasn't the best. That has to be done, something like that.
yeah,
Um,
but it will.
here.
I'm confident at some point it will come out, and as it should, to really tell the story.
Oh, definitely. Um, Now, you've known Luis for over 30 years too, in regards to the collaborations that you guys have done.
Yes.
Um, what an integral part of the scene he has been as well. He's been kind of a pillar for the ska community, and still going strong after all this time.
Yes.
You've been in the scene, and a lot of your favorite music is rocksteady ska, traditional ska, that type of thing. Whom are your current favorite ska, reggae, rocksteady bands on the scene now? Some of the ones who
Mm,
play that type of music.
yeah.
Because I know you've got your
Um,
finger on the pulse. You know a lot of bands.
um, if you ask my wife, she'll tell you I sound like an 80-year-old living living on a Caribbean island. Uh, which is not a knock necessarily. Um, yeah, I mean, uh, I think, I mean, this year alone, if you talk about some new music, um, a few that come to mind that I do love. I mean, Agrolites that we mentioned, I think their brand new album is
Oh my
incredible.
God, it's amazing.
Really, really a big fan of that. Um, Jackie Mendez, right, which I know has some
Oh my gosh,
previously
yes.
released music, but her and her band, amazing.
Mhm.
Love that album. Joe Quiones, his what is it, Rocksteady Soul Rocksteady? I forget the name of it, but
Review.
that album's and
Yeah.
also,
Mhm.
yeah, incredible. Big fan of what he puts out. I mean, Steady 45s continue to be, some
Yeah.
of my favorites here, and that's just here in SoCal. Um, I mean, it's a great question. I mean,
We talked about Smoke and Mirror Sound System.
yeah, I mean, what what they put out is just incredible with their choice of covers.
Mhm.
Huge fan of Smoke and Mirror Sound System. Also, Daryl, earlier you mentioned Blanco and Negro.
Mhm.
Love their stuff, and they have new music coming out. Um,
You know who's really good
music
too?
Blackard put out.
Who's really good too? That they used to play, but I don't know if they're even together anymore. Los Agrios. Do you remember them?
Yeah,
They're
yeah,
like
yeah.
the rookies.
Steady Beat put them out. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I
don't.
haven't heard anything from them for years
Yeah, good question. I don't know. Yeah.
because they were playing with a lot of those.
Word.
The ska core, the Latin ska core
Uh-huh.
bands
Sure, sure,
like Eva
sure.
Core and all that. They usually play in that type of scene,
Right.
which is
Yes.
strange. But they are this type of scene, so
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
strange.
Uh and then trying to think of who else I mean, some of the bands of Supernova that played um each year, that there's a number of bands there, and I each year I also have FOMO because I've not been able to make it out Supernova. I will one of these years, but this is not the year, unfortunately. But
That is
uh,
actually a question that I had to see if you've been to
I
any of those
know.
festivals
I
because
so
your
wish.
comrade Junior is there
I know.
every year
Yes,
doing
he's
his thing.
he's
You figure
co-emceeing
he'd
with
bring you out.
me. He is. I know. Um, yeah. So one of these years I'll make it out there, but not just not going to happen this year.
Well, I
But
can
no,
imagine. I can imagine because you've done a lot of stuff with Tim and April and the Supernova guys for you to interview some of the bands and be involved in that, but not be there to hang with
I
the
know.
bands and talk.
I know.
That's how I had with the Pioneer Valley Ska Festival that
Right.
I just did. I wasn't able to go out there, but I was watching and looking at everything all weekend of the stuff, and I was just God, I was just so down because
Yeah,
I really
I
wanted to
know.
be there.
I know. I know. I also love it, and we touched on this a little bit, but over the last several years, some of the reunions. Yeah, I mean, Dance Hall Crashers coming back on the scene. Let's Go Bowling, right, coming back. Coming out of COVID, Ocean 11, right? They did those shows opening for Derek and Stranger at the El Rey. Mobtown came back, right?
Right.
Dynamics. I mean, there's been a number of Debonaires. I mean, a number of them that took a hiatus and have come back, which is always amazing.
Your boys with the skeletons too came back.
Skeletons, yes, 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 right, absolutely.
Yeah, and then they opened for Pauline and the Selector, which was
They
awesome.
did. Yeah, I know. I love that. I
Oh
love that.
yeah, that was
And,
a
and
great
I also
show.
love the fact that Paul Hampton's daughter is Sol Ruca, who's a WWE wrestler.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is super cool. I grew up a wrestling fan, so
Oh, no wonder. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, lots of great bands on the scene. There's a lot of bands. There's one called the Valley Moonstompers out in like the
Mhm.
East Coast who play that traditional, that big band type of sound. You of course you know Lollipop Lori from Russia.
Yeah, yeah.
Do their thing.
Yep.
There's a band in called the Circle City Demons or Deacons, the
Mm,
Circle City Deacons,
okay.
who do that, and that's it. They're out in the Missouri area too. So
Yeah.
of course, you know, there's the Northeast Ska Jazz Ensemble, you know, the out there in Russia, and there's all
Yep.
kinds of bands who do that. And Western Standard Time
St.
doing their
Petersburg
thing,
Ska
still
Jazz
impeccable
Review.
too.
Western Standard Time just continue to also put out incredible music too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm with you there. And then Mark Wasserman's band, The Finsick, I'm
Yes.
a fan of as well, out of the East Coast.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's a number of them. I mean, here in Orange County, female fronted. I mean, Half Past Two, and they're always great. Bite Me Bambi, right? Some
You're gonna
Philly
have the
bands.
elevations out here next year too.
Nice. All
Yeah,
right. That's
yeah.
great to hear.
So that should be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good. So get some soul in there. Maybe get the
It's
insider into them.
fresh in the back of your mind there, isn't it,
Yeah,
Daryl?
exactly. Yeah,
The
exactly.
A100s are great.
A100s,
Oh my
Trojanites.
gosh,
Yeah,
yes.
Excited to
definitely.
see them.
A lot of
But
amazing
yeah,
bands.
yes,
Now we talked about the Supernova Ska Fest, but you travel a lot. You go to a lot of see a lot
I
of different,
travel for work and somewhat for fun sometimes. Yeah.
right, which is great. So in these types of things, you have like backstage passes, so you get to meet some of these people, I assume, right? Some of these bigger bands that you won't be
Uh,
able to.
mm, Sometimes, but I try to stay out of the way.
Yeah,
It's not what I'm there for, so
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Well,
don't
that's
want to
good.
overstep. You know.
Right, exactly. Now, I want to know, and Mikey likes this question too. I want to know what your pet peeve and addictions are, if you care to share with us, and it does not have to be anything bad.
Um, Pet peeves. Pet peeves, I would say, um, those friends and acquaintances or coworkers who continuously break their word, like don't follow through.
Okay.
Um, because if it's a pattern, then it becomes maybe it wasn't an accident, maybe it was. So I'd probably say that. Uh, hmm, my addictions. Uh, well, if you ask my wife, she would say history of LA ska.
I get that kind of thing with my girlfriend. Like when some bands get back to me and they're all, "Hey, can we do this date?" I'm all, my girlfriend says no.
Yeah.
Because there's
Um,
a lot of times that there's someone like you with your wife and your kids. There's some that quality time that you have that kind of takes away, and you got, oh
yes.
well, there's some
Yes.
things I cannot do.
Yeah. Um, I don't know if it necessarily any bad addictions. I will say one of my, and I'm not trying to avoid the question, Mikey, but one of my goals now later in life with my daughters is for if I can see them having fun at a concert or a festival or meeting an artist or whatever, if I can bring them that, um, then my cup is filled and I'm happy with
Right. Yeah.
being able to share that with them.
Turning the
So
kids on to live music or to music
yeah,
in general.
yeah, and they're both music fans for sure, and
Yeah.
been to their definitely their fair share of concerts. So that's maybe more of a goal and something that I love than more than an addiction.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Because
that's good. No, I totally get it because I would play 80s music and I had speakers in the backyard by the pool. and I was piping it in from the garage. I'd be in the garage on my computer, and I could pipe music out to the pool area.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of old 80s music, stuff that Richard Blade would play.
Yeah, yeah.
My kids now call that backyard music. So that when they hear old 80s music, it's considered backyard music.
I love that.
And and they go to my son goes to shows all the time. He would hit me up. He's, oh, hey, I was at this show. I don't know who the hell these guys are, but he's going to see live music. And both the kids like music.
So cool.
Yeah, yeah,
But
it is cool. It feels
girls,
good
Eric,
like that.
Do they actually like reggae and ska music, or?
When they were younger, I was proud to say that they could tell the difference between ska, rock steady, and reggae.
Oh,
Now, not so much. Now, not so much. I think probably like a lot of parents' relationships with their kids, because they know that I love it. They don't as much.
Yeah.
Which is fine now. Maybe they'll come around at some point in the future, but some of it they can appreciate. But no, they're not big fans. They're really fans of more of the pop music.
Yeah, I'm gonna say my kids are the same way. My son does love the specials.
Yeah,
Like because I turned him on to the specials. Like on one of his car, it was like his very first car. He put like a little special sticker. But like yeah, while Jabs go, he had a sticker while Jabs go on his car. I'm like, oh, dude, I've done. You know what? I've done good. Okay,
I love that.
pat myself on the back for that
sticker
one.
on there. I know you put that sticker
No,
on.
no, no! I swear, bro. He did. He was super proud of it too. So yeah, my kids either not big, huge ska reggae fans, but like they will tune into the show every once in a while. My daughter will hit me up. Oh, I really like this song. This is really cool. So every once in a while, but yeah, I think they're more into like the pop or the alternative stuff that's going on. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I know at least one festival, a ska festival that your son's been to.
That's right.
Well, there we
Rude Girl
go.
Riot.
There we go.
Yeah. There we go.
Derek, sorry, Daryl, when will we see another Rude Girl Riot?
Oh, when probably hell freezes over. I lost a lot of money on that one. Yeah. It was, I don't know.
Talk about needing girlfriend approval.
My girlfriend's the one who bailed me out, so the bands didn't kill me.
Right. She's like, not again.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
The scene is strange. It's hit or miss. Yeah. And I don't know. I thought I could get into promoting again and do that. It's just, it's a passion. It's a love. And that's what you do it for, not to make money.
Yeah.
And, like all the money went to the bands. I didn't make, I lost.
Yeah. But like you keep doing this, you can't keep doing it for nothing all the time.
No, I know.
And if you're like me, I'm like, I got to pay the bands. You got to pay the bands.
Well, yeah, that's what I did
playing for free.
I didn't get paid.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. At some point, right?
It is rough.
It's difficult, but after not doing it for 20 something years, like it was like you, I went away from ska for about 12 years or whatever, started a family, you did all of that thing, and then still the passion, the fire's still burning in there. You got to do something, and so that was one of the things that I wanted to do. It's just sometimes your vision is a lot different than reality.
Oh yeah.
So. Yes. That was kind of the demise on some of the stuff. And I've done great shows in the past, and maybe it was compared, because of Luis, with his knowledge and his backing so maybe that was my whole thing, but it was just a different dynamic this time around. The scene has changed so much.
But you continue to do a lot for the scene through this podcast too. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, whatever doesn't cost money. Right?
Or at least not too much money, right?
That's funny because when I got back into it, because I know when Kat interviewed me, like she did with you for the movie, she after I started doing the podcast, she was like, "Well, that's a really great way to get back into the scene to do stuff," because I wasn't sure.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about doing pressing records or CDs, whatever, starting to get into that, but I just remember
that
back
also
in the day,
takes money.
yeah, it all takes money, plus I don't want to be sitting, I don't want to be looking at product.
Yeah, you don't want the inventory on hand. I get it.
Exactly.
Right. I don't know how John Roy does it, man.
I don't know.
He's got a warehouse full of records, dude. I keep trying to help push him.
Right. And there's so many bands that we do talk to sometimes that they're still sitting on product. It's like, I don't have that CD or it's not available on Discogs, but the
Yeah.
band's got it sitting in their
Oh
garage
yeah,
somewhere.
Eric White the other
Right.
day. Oh yeah, see, yeah, I've got him in my garage. Sure, just hit me up. Sure, Eric, you're on an island over here. Me and Eric out here on this island. I've already got the CDs because he kicked them down to me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a completely different scene, but yeah, I mean, but this is good. This just it's all to keep the music alive, of course, and plus it's
For
fun.
sure.
It's great to
yeah.
talk to bands and
Yeah.
to reconnect with old people. Recently, I've been doing a lot of the bands that I when I toured with the Hippos and the Adjustments,
Right.
a lot of those bands that we cashed in our favors that were the bands that I booked here in LA.
That's cool.
We got shows with our bands out there, and I'm now starting to really connect with them again and get the
Nice.
interviews, and it's just really good to see how people have changed and grown in the scene and done their own
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
a lot of their interests that we get to see from when they were playing music to now their interests and what they are now, families and all of that stuff. So that's a really cool
well,
thing about that.
right, and I like to do it on the show because I hear the songs, I hear the music, and it's like it's nice to hear where the music came from. What were you thinking when you wrote this song? Where did this title come from? Oh, this was a working title that became the title,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. And this was because, my parents sit in front of Fox News all day long, and so I had to write a song about it. And it's like, that kind of stuff. I love hearing that, especially after hearing the music. So,
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
For me, the best thing is learning things that I never knew about of these bands,
right.
or them.
Where the names
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah. Right. I know.
Just
Yeah.
that.
The
I
backstory.
love hearing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I know.
Um, so we got a couple more questions for you here, Eric.
Yes, sir.
We know you got to get back to the fam. Um, so I want to know, where can we find all of your content for everything that we've discussed here? I know there's Ska Mania stuff on YouTube. You've got some of your Havana-Kingston stuff probably archived somewhere as well. Where can
Yeah.
we find all the content? Starting
Sure.
starting with Reggae Nucleus magazine. Where can we find those episodes? Are they scanned somewhere?
Oh
Where is
man.
this stuff? Because I have a couple episodes. I have a couple of magazines back here. Yeah, I have
Here we
them.
go. Here we
I
go.
have them like that too here.
This was this we were able to use one of Bruce Talaman's
Oh
Marley
my
photos,
gosh.
which was one of my all-time favorites.
Heck yeah,
Um,
great
That's
photo.
and then
yeah,
these,
isn't it?
Yeah,
and then these legends was
is
super
that Jay
cool.
Leno on top?
Oh,
I'm joking.
Monty Alexander. It does look like Jay
I'm
Leno.
joking.
Well, the sad reality about Reggae Nucleus is um, you really can't find it. I do have some back issues in storage here to your storage question or storage comment about so we might start to try to do something with some of those back issues, but unfortunately there's not anywhere to be found. And I don't necessarily know if scanning them is in the cards to putting them online. But so there's that. Um, and then Havana-Kingston connection, I do have uh cassettes as well as CDs where I would record my shows. So I'll probably start to slowly put some of those episodes on maybe on YouTube,
Mhm.
just audio. So that's something that I'm going to work on probably throughout this year next. And then um, before I go into before I go into the history of LA Ska,
Mhm.
I do have some of the Legends shows and some of the footage on DVD, which I am going to convert to also post on our YouTube channel, the
Mhm.
History of LA Scout YouTube channel. And speaking of which, that's where you can find the podcast at History of LA Scout. You can find some of the highlights from some of the Legend shows. And when Junior and I did the 4 month series of Ska Mania sessions here in Orange County last fall. You can find some of those performances on there. And then the podcast is also found on wherever you get your podcast, a few different podcast platforms. Um, and then, as I mentioned earlier, on Instagram, on TikTok, and on our Facebook group, it's usually one or so posts a day where we celebrate the scene.
Do you have a
So
link tree that
yeah,
is
yeah.
good
So
any?
on our yes, I do. We do have a link tree that we post in our profile on History of LA Ska that houses everything I'm talking about.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so we'll
Because
share that
I've
with you.
looked, I've seen it on there. I just wanted you
Yeah,
to
no, we
say
do.
it.
We do. Yes, yes.
And then before History of Ska, LA Ska, you get there. You said that's pretty much every platform, right? Um,
Most platforms,
most
yes.
platforms. And
Yes.
this is the video, right? Do you have it anywhere just audio?
You can choose on the podcast platforms, you can choose just to listen, but
Uh,
we upload the video everywhere. So on Spotify, you can watch it or you can
okay.
listen. And then
Okay.
on YouTube. And we found that it's fairly split as far as like the views and listens between the various sorry, between like if you combine all of the podcasts listens and views as well as next to the YouTube views.
Right. And these are the same places we could find the Grammy Museum panels and listen
And then
to.
on our YouTube channel, History of LA Scott, we have links to all of the Grand Museum events that we've done. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. And History of LA Ska, of course. You mainly YouTube, right? That's the main
Yeah.
viewership, right?
Yeah.
There as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And then you
Correct.
promote in all the socials, Instagram,
Correct.
Facebook, everything
Yes.
else, right? Okay.
Yes.
That's good. Good to hear.
Yeah.
Um, now we've got two more questions. Well, hold on, let me see here. I think it was one more question for you here.
Yes.
Um, and then we're going to ask you to hold on real fast. What are the last words that you have for the fans of the history of LA Ska, Reggae Nucleus, the Ska Mania events you do, your Havana-Kingston connection, and all the panels that you do at the Grammy Museum?
Ska people in general, Eric.
That's basically, yeah.
I
What are the
mean,
last words that you have for them?
yeah, I mean, first and foremost, I'm very thankful for those that have contributed and collaborated with me and very thankful to my as I mentioned my dear friends and partners in crime and Junior Francis and Sean Heitkemper and for Reggae Nucleus days, Reyno Rodriguez and um, really thankful for what they helped and continue to help bring to everything that I'm able to lend my passions towards. Um, and very very thankful and happy how the scene has reacted. Clearly, none of this would have happened without the players in the scene and those behind the scenes. So just very very thankful and I'm also very appreciative and um, excited for what the future holds as well. Um, by way of interviews and working with Junior on Ska Mania. So yeah,
And getting out to a Supernova Fest.
yes, and I do want to say again, get on out and and support the scene. That's what it's going to take to continue and listen
Yeah.
to the radio stations, listen to our radio shows, listen to podcasts, buy the books, buy the music, buy the merch. It truly takes a village to keep things moving.
Mhm. Eric, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure having you on. I
Yeah, thank
appreciate
you.
your time
Yeah.
away from everything. Mikey does too. Want you to hold on real fast. We're gonna ask you a question right after, but thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Mikey,
Appreciate you.
Mikey, great to see you. Thank you again.
Good seeing
And
you too again,
and,
Eric.
and Daryl, I really appreciate everything as well. And best of luck with continued success with Sky History Hour.
Well, thank you
Finish,
very
man.
much. Hold on real quick, all right?
You bet.